Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the show, we are going to be talking about what the hell is happening at the box office. I'm also going to give my monthly director review to Frank from Frank's Media Reviews, and he chose for me to watch the film Troll 2, so we'll review that here today, and we are also going to be picking our 2 digital code giveaway winners at the very end of this video. But I want to start off with the box office. We kind of talked a little bit about this on Let's Talk Physical Media and how it kind of tied into the world of physical media, but as you guys might know, my favorite place in the entire world is the movie theater. That's where I go to, get peace, get away from the world for a little bit, and just enjoy a movie for 2 to 3 hours. When you watch a movie at home, and, this is a physical media channel first, I love to watch movies at home, but there's always more distractions at home. You got your phone right there. I like to put my phone away when I watch a movie, but sometimes I'm taking notes, but for the most part, I try and pay full attention to the movie. But I'm also married, I have 2 dogs, I watch for the most part my movies in my living room, there's windows there, so, other than at night, you can't really experience true darkness. And yes, even with the best TVs and the best sound systems, you can never replicate that experience in the movie theater, and also the experience with the community of people who love movies as much as you do. The cheering, the laughing, it really builds and adds to the movie. And nowadays, it doesn't feel like people are going to the theaters that much, and the proof is in the pudding, because just look at how movies are doing in theaters. This was the worst Memorial Day in almost 30 years. And you know what? That doesn't even paint the full picture, because tickets compared to 30 years ago cost way more. There's more premium theaters like IMAX and Dolby theaters. So even with tickets selling, they're selling at a higher price. So less tickets are even being sold than they were at that 30-year mark. So it's just really depressing out there. This past weekend, Furiosa and the Garfield movie, Memorial Day weekend, for the 4 days, both of these movies tied at the time of this recording, the Sunday estimates, these are I'm going by, and they are supposedly going to finish after Monday with that 4th day at $31 million a piece. And that is very disappointing. Movies like this that cost a ton of money, I'm not sure what the final budget was on Furiosa, but I know it was pretty damn high. And there's no way that movie is going to make back its budget, and that is really disappointing. This is a movie that I'm sure a lot of people were looking forward to, so why aren't people going to the theater to see it? What exactly is the problem? Well, it's a smorgasbord of things. It's not just one thing, but I think the biggest thing is that we just don't have movie fans anymore. Younger people coming up, anywhere from the ages of 16 to 24, those people are not going to theaters. And I talk to these people. I have siblings who are around that age. I also work with a lot of younger people, and they all aren't into movies. Video games are first. And then right behind that is the short form entertainment, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. People don't want to sit there for 2 to 3 hours anymore and watch a movie. That's not the main form of entertainment anymore. And, for people like me and people like you who are cinephiles, who put movies first and foremost, it is very upsetting that more people aren't into movies anymore. And that's just the way things go. Things change, but movies were such a staple for so long. I mean, here in the United States, Hollywood is a city that revolves around movies, but with movies not doing good in theaters, and then, all these movie studios putting all of their eggs into the streaming basket, that's another thing that's hurt theaters, is that when COVID rolled around, and, we were kind of heading there to the sense where movies were going to be put on streaming services anyway. I just think that movie studios didn't know what they were getting into. They just saw Netflix making money, and, when people see other people making money, the way it goes is they want their piece of that pie, but they didn't think it all the way through. And now after COVID and everything that's happened, and with the theaters opening back up, why can't we get more people in theaters? Well, we've trained these people to know that eventually these movies will end up on streaming services. The Fall Guy, it's been in theaters, 3 weeks now, and you can already stream it on Amazon or Apple. Yes, you have to pay $19.99, but have you been to a movie theater lately? You know what it costs to take a family to the movies? Hundreds of dollars at this point. When I just go with my wife, now given me and my wife both have the AMC A-List pass, that's because we both love to go to the movies. Me more than her, but that costs $24 a month. I can see 3 movies a week in a premium theater if I want to. If IMAX, Dolby, no matter what it is, I can see it there as long as I go to an AMC theater 3 times a week. That is great for any movie fan. But, of course, if you want concessions, and when me and my wife go, we split a popcorn and we split a large drink. That's almost $20 for that. Now, when I was a kid, and I used to go to the movies all the time, every weekend, at least once a week, and sometimes I would just spend the day there with my friends. $20 was enough. My family would give me $20 and say, hey, go spend the day in the movies. I get snacks, I get food, whatever. I'd probably get a slice of pizza after the movie. And this isn't that long ago. This is in the early to mid 2000s. So that's when I was going the most. And it just upsets me to see that movie theaters are just not doing well anymore. And I know that a lot of it is that cost. That's another thing. Besides the cost of going to the theaters as a family, but even when you go by yourself, people are struggling. Everything costs more. That's another big thing. It's not just going to the movies that costs more. Food costs more. Gas costs more. Heating your house costs more. Everything costs more money. And the first things to fall are the things you don't need. And people don't need to go to the movies. People can watch movies at home. And right now, with streaming services, people are paying so much for all these different streaming services. I'm sure they're saying, we're not going to go see this in theaters. We can't afford it. Plus, look at what we have. We got Netflix, Hulu, Max. We don't need to go to the theaters to see a movie. There's so many different streaming options. But for people who love the movie theater and going to the theater, this definitely does hurt. And what do studios need to do to get people to go back to theaters? Well, you're going to have to take a step back because you're overcharging too much at this point, and it's really killing people. And I know that the movie theaters need money to survive. We live in America. It's a capitalist country, so the only way we're going to get by is by charging people more. But you're trying to charge people more who don't have enough money. So you're going to have to try and figure something out. And yes, concessions have always been where theaters made their money, but it's just costing people too much, and people are not willing to spend over $100 for one movie. I wish they would, but unfortunately, I completely understand. It's unfeasible, and things are going to have to change. You also have to market your movies better. Stop spending so much money on a movie. It doesn't need to be $200 million to make a bad looking movie, in my opinion. It never was this way, but we've gotten really out of hand with how these budgets have just ballooned up, and it gets really, really, really hard to make your money back. And now these studios, because they're so desperate, they lost so much money on these movies, now they're overcharging in other places. They're cutting corners. Now we're raising the price of Max. Our 4K Blu-rays for just one disc are like $30 with no extras on it. These are things what studios are doing to make up the money that movies didn't make in theaters or on streaming services. So now we're in that weird phase, like, what does the future hold? Well, for me, honestly, if I'm being 100% honest with you guys, I do not see movie theaters surviving in their current state. Things are going to have to change. I really think only the major ones are going to last. Maybe some mom and pop ones that, have figured out a good way to charge, people who support those small theaters. There's a small theater by me called PJ Cinemas. They've been in business for a long time. Given it looks exactly the same as when I was a kid, which is understandable. I can appreciate that. But they still charge about $5 for popcorn, $5 for a ticket, maybe about $6 now, and like $5 for a drink. That is fair. Yes, you're not going to be able to go there and see it in the biggest format, but the biggest format is probably the thing that's going to get people to go to theaters. Nobody wants to see every single movie in Adobe Theater for $25 a ticket. That's just not worth it. So things are definitely going to have to change. I'm getting really worried about it. This is just my little rant on it, but what do you guys think? What do you think needs to happen for movie theaters to get back on their feet, and what do you think we need to do as cinephiles ourselves to bring in new cinephiles so we can get people going to theaters or collect physical media? Please let me know in the comments section below. And guys, we're also here today to talk about the movie Troll 2.
And remember,
and you would be forgiven if you thought Troll 2 was a sequel to 1986's Troll. Well, it originally wasn't supposed to be. It was actually supposed to be goblins, and this movie, when you watch it, it has nothing to do with trolls. It has everything to do with goblins. And this is a horror comedy that came out in 1990, directed by Claudio Fragasso. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. And that's not the credited name that is given to him for this movie. And most of the people who actually made this movie, the names that they use is not their real names. They're just using, fake names to get this movie out there. This is actually a movie that was made by basically an Italian director and an Italian crew in Utah, who didn't speak great English, and that was a big problem for this movie just to start with. And this is actually going to be my review for Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews. He is a channel director so he gets to pick a review that I do every single month for him, and he chose Troll 2. He said I was getting too spoiled. I was watching too many good movies, so he picked a bad movie for me to watch. Now, I was aware of Troll 2. I was a big Chris Stuckman guy, and he reviewed this on his channel. He reviewed a lot of bad movies for a while, and the "oh my god" shot was always featured in the intro for that. I can't remember what he called it, but he reviewed bad movies that are, so bad that they end up being good. And Troll 2 was one of those movies, and a lot of that just, when you watch this movie, I finally caught up to it, and I'm glad I saw it, but man, this really is a bad movie in the best way possible. First of all, the acting from all the main cast is absolutely atrocious.
Dear Elliot Cooper, tomorrow morning will be your final judgment. Either me or your boys.
And I'm getting a little ahead of myself. What is this movie about? Well, if you want to know about the plot and the story of this one, my god, it's just basically a family is going to be switching with another family who lives in another farming town.
I'm sorry we had a small mishap.
Here are the keys. Here are ours.
the dad wants to be a farmer. So he's like, okay, for a month, they're going to come live in our house and we're going to go live in their house. Almost like, you know, trading places, trading wives, whatever the hell they used to do. This was a real thing, my God. I would never let somebody in my house and go stay in their house. That's just absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, this family's about to go to a town. The town is called Nilbog, which is just goblin spelled backward. Again, goblins, not trolls. So these goblins in this town, you know, they're in horrible costumes, by the way. But before they get there, the young child, who's like kind of our protagonist, I guess, he sees a ghostly figure who turns out to be his grandfather, which his grandfather looks 45 years old, by the way. He does not look like a grandfather, and he's the father of his mother, and his mother looks like she's older than his grandfather. So that makes absolutely zero sense to me. They couldn't get an old man actor. This guy's literally got a gray beard and brown hair. I do not buy that this guy is a grandfather. And apparently he's long past dead. It must have been a tragic death because clearly he died at 45 years old. So anyway, he's like, no, don't go to this town. It's filled with goblins. And these goblins turn human beings into like plant matter and then they eat them up. It looks just like the green. I don't remember if you guys remember the Burger King dipping sauce from like the late 90s. It was like an apple green colored dipping sauce. I don't remember what it tasted like, but I did get it with the chicken tenders from Burger King. I remember that being a thing. It was a tie-in, I want to say, with the Rugrats movie. I can't remember. But anyway, what they turned the human beings into in this movie is this like green-colored stuff that they eat up, and the goblins' costumes, my God, just absolutely atrocious. It looks like somebody knitted them in their garage, and I think that's actually what happened. The producer for this movie, his idea is, it doesn't matter about the quality of the film, it's about the way the movie makes money, and you could tell all the actors in this movie have barely acted before, and they do just an absolutely garbage job at acting, but probably to the best of their ability. They've also said that, you know, this is an Italian crew. They really didn't speak great English, and apparently when they gave them the script, they wanted it read as is, and apparently it was like a very broken English, so of course when you're trying to say those lines, you know, they're gonna come out sounding absolutely horrible. But everything in this movie is just cheesy and ridiculous, and they said that they were trying to make a horror comedy. I think they just ended up with a bad movie, and they tried to, you know, sidestep what actually happened. But, you know, I don't want to knock everybody in this movie, but they really did a bad job. The dialogue is just so awful, but it's fun to watch because you just can't believe that a movie like this, like I watched this on Tubi, I don't own the Blu-ray or anything, and you see the MGM logo pop up and you're like, really, you're proud to put your logo in front of this movie of all movies? I mean, it's just stitched together. I guess it's shot okay, but yes, it's a horrible movie, like a 0 out of 10 type of movie. But for my enjoyment factor with it, I would have probably had more fun watching this movie like with my friends or with my wife. Instead, I ended up watching it on my own. I still had some laughs at it, but this isn't like a bad movie that's made bad to be funny, like the Toxic Avenger is, or Romeo and Juliet. No, this is a movie where they tried to make a movie and they ended up with just a really bad movie. So there are times when you're watching this movie by yourself where it just drags, but there are times where you're just like sitting there like laughing, like, I can't believe that they did this. So, you know, overall, it's a movie I say, hey, if you can get your buddies together and you guys are drinking, having a good time, definitely check out Troll 2. It's worth your time and money in that sense. But if you're just somebody who's just thinking about, maybe I'll throw Troll 2 on because I'm a big horror fan, or for some reason I like 1986's Troll, I'm going to check out the sequel. You know, you're going to be disappointed, let's put it that way. It's a bad movie. So how would I rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, you know what? Because it did entertain me, I'm going to still give it a 4 out of 10, but as far as a movie goes, it really is awful, so probably deserves a 0 out of 10, but I'm going to stick with a 4 out of 10. Have you guys seen Troll 2? Let me know in the comments section below, and now I'm going to kick it over to Future John for this week's Digital Code giveaway. That is correct. It is Tuesday, and that means it's time to pick our winners of the Digital Code giveaway. In every single video that we do here on Friday, I ask you guys 2 Digital Code giveaway questions. All you had to do was answer one of those questions in the comment section below, and as long as you did that, you came back to this video right here. I put your name on a magic wheel. I spun that wheel 2 times. The 2 names that it lands on, they have their choice of the digital codes that you've seen on your screen before you today. I asked you guys, what was your favorite Terminator movie? And I also asked you guys, what was your favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? And honestly, in both categories, Terminator 2 won, which is not that surprising at all. Terminator 2 is definitely Arnold Schwarzenegger's most famous film. You know, the Terminator might have made him famous, but he took it to the next level with Terminator 2. Just like everything in Terminator 2, it was just turning it up to the next level. You know, Terminator 1's a lot more down, dirty, and gritty. You know, if you saw the podcast, you saw that me and David talked about it on Friday. And man, that movie, The Terminator, that's still my favorite for both Arnold and for the Terminator franchise. But I don't fault anyone for liking Terminator 2 more, because Terminator 2 is still a masterpiece in my opinion. But I'll keep rambling on, so let's spin this magic wheel and see who this week's 2 lucky winners are. Alright, congratulations, levitating through time and nostalgia one by one. I think both of you guys have won in the past, but if not, you always reach out to me at my email address, letstalkentmt@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Direct message me there. Let me know which of the digital codes you want. As long as the other winner doesn't take it before you, that digital code is all yours. And guys, a week from today, we're also going to be doing our membership giveaway. So if you are a channel member, every single month we do a wheel spin just like we do for the digital code giveaway. But this time you will win a piece of physical media. As long as you're a channel member under the Friends of the Channel tier, the Producers tier like John Doe Juggalo, Jason Martin, and Mr. Smelly Potato, or the Directors tier like Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews, we'll put your name on a magic wheel and we'll spin that bad boy, and whoever lands on, they have their choice of these movies right here. When I do this, I feel like I'm like on The Price is Right or something like that. So anyway, you could win possibly the Mad Max Anthology series, which of course is going to be receiving an upgrade pretty soon, but this will have the first 4 films on 4K Blu-ray, and they are amazing on 4K Blu-ray. I just personally don't love these movies. Thor Love and Thunder 4K Steelbook. This is from Disney. The Italian Job, the 2003 version. You know, the one that stars Mark Wahlberg, Charlize Theron. This is a great movie, by the way, and it's a good 4K. I actually reviewed that on the channel. And then last is a 1980s classic, The Lost Boys on 4K Blu-ray, which is also a fantastic Blu-ray. So if you're a channel member, you will have your choice of one of these when we put your name on that magic wheel. And of course, if you didn't win this week, we will be doing this digital code giveaway again next week, so make sure you come back to this Friday's video, which I believe is going to be reviews for all of the Bad Boys movies on 4K Blu-ray, and I'll ask you guys 2 more digital code giveaway questions on that day. And thank you guys all so much for supporting this channel. We just hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, share this video if you could, but if you don't want to do that, we don't mind at all. We just hope you enjoyed it, and we want you to just get out in those streets and tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.